There she is.
Hello.
Hi, I'm so happy to see you.
Hello, everybody. I am so prepared for this. I have my tissue right next to me. Thank you for making this live possible. Thank you all for being so willing to collaborate and participate in this conversation tonight. I'm gonna channel my inner Oprah Winfrey tonight. I'm gonna play moderator for our conversation today. I'm glad that everything worked out. And we're recording, right, Dina?
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Beatriz, B for short, and inspired by many things, including all the people in this live tonight. I reached out to Dina from the Aneurysm and ADM Foundation, and we came up with an idea to create a campaign around movement that will also serve to educate people about brain aneurysms and, of course, fundraise for TAAF, which is doing amazing work. So I want to go around the room and have the amazing people that are joining us tonight introduce themselves. And we're going to do the introductions in this way. You're going to say your name, your title and affiliation, and why brain aneurysms matter to you. For me, just to set the example, B, co-creator of Move with B, and aneurysms are important to me because I had two, actually, one rupture. So Dr. Connolly fixed both sides of my head. And because I was so lucky to come out healthy from this experience, I feel a sense of commitment to educating other people and, making sure that we are all as healthy as we can be. So let's take it to the council member now.
Hi, B. Hi, doctors. How are you? Thank you so much for having me. I am Carmen de la Rosa. I'm the council member for Washington Heights, Inwood, and Marble Hill, proudly representing the community where B's from. And the reason that I'm here is because I care about the health of my community, and I'm inspired by B's journey, and I'm so excited that she invited me to be part of this. If we can educate a woman, save a life, through this initiative, this beautiful initiative, then I'm all for it and I'm here to support. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And then before I get too emotional, can we have the Columbia Neurosurgery team introduce themselves?
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Awesome. I'm Dr. Gabby Tosto, practitioner here that works on the cerebrovascular team. Aneurysms mean a lot to me because this guy here also helped my mom who had an unruptured aneurysm, and he was able to cure it for her. So I am very committed to this mission as well.
And I'm Sandra Connolly. I'm a neurosurgeon at Columbia. I've been doing the aneurysm surgery here, especially the ruptured aneurysm surgery, for 1997. What's that, 25 years. So at this a long time. Gabby's main partner in crime, Dr. Levine, is our expert endovascular surgeon. He came and joined us in 2002, so he's been here 20 years. And together, we've really had a great collaboration working on trying to fix these aneurysms, either through the blood vessel or sometimes through the cranium. The techniques have gotten a lot better, and the reason aneurysms are important to me is they're a major cause of death and disability in young people. We can get into some of the other information in a second, but we'd love to see people like B make a full recovery, and it's really gratifying.
Thank you so much. And we were going to do a pre-call yesterday, but Dr. Connolly was too busy saving another life, and we couldn't do it. And I was hoping we did it so I would get the crying out yesterday. But unfortunately, you guys may see me crying tonight. I haven't seen him since I had surgery at Columbia in his hands. So just bear with me, people, because I know I'm going to cry. And my partner in crime, Dina.
Just so you know, I'm kind of already crying because I know how important this is to you. It's funny. I'll do the crying for you. Hi, everybody. I'm really so incredibly excited to see you here because I've been hearing a lot about all three of you for a long time. My name is Dina Chon. I am the head of the Aneurysm and AVM Foundation, or TAAF for short, and TAAF is out here in San Francisco, where we were started, over 17 years ago. I personally care very much about brain aneurysms because one of them took the life of my mother when I was 16 years old on Christmas Day. And it changed the trajectory of my life and the lives of my family 100%. Being able to be of service, well, I like to say service is healing because it really continues on a daily basis to heal me. And I watch it heal people figuratively and literally like B. And so meeting her and hearing just how incredibly excited she was to take the journey she'd already been on into a new place and to just inspire others and then to give it back and to include all of you, I was probably crying on our first call too. So it's really just a blessing that you're all here today, and I want to thank you again.
Thank you all. And as I was mentioning, the campaign has three components. And by the way, in the service of our community in Washington Heights, in the Spanish-speaking community, which has been extremely supportive, I'm going to try to translate a little bit. I'm not going to do a literal translation because we will be here for 5 hours. Spanish is very lengthy. But the campaign has three components. One is education, and that's what we're doing tonight. The other one is encouraging movement, because movement is medicine. It's done so much for me. And then the third is the fundraising component to support TAAF. Voy a hablar un poquito en español, voy a traducir algunas partes de la conversación, no todo literalmente por respeto al tiempo, pero esta noche estamos aquí, la concejal de Washington Heights, Carmen de la Rosa, está el equipo de neurología del Hospital de Columbia y está Dina Chon de la Fundación de Aneurisma y ABM. Esta noche vamos a hablar de los aneurismas, cómo impactan a las mujeres, especialmente a las mujeres de color, nuestra comunidad latina, y otras cosas que tengan que ver con la salud de la mujer. So we're going to start with our Columbia Neurosurgery team. So tell us a little bit about what are brain aneurysms, what you know about how they impact women, women of color, and anything new in the science and research that, that we should know about, or ways that we can take care of ourselves.
So brain aneurysms are actually pretty common, as the foundation people can tell you. They probably affect somewhere between 1% and 2% of the population. However, the chance of having a ruptured aneurysm in your lifetime is probably closer to 1 in 1,000, or maybe a little shy of that. So it's a not totally uncommon, but it's pretty rare. It would be considered an orphan disease by numbers. That said, it disproportionately affects young people. It can affect anybody at any age. We generally do not see them in children. They can occur in children. If I've done 3,000 aneurysms, I might have done 30 in children, okay? In truly young children. That said, once you're about 20, they become very common, and they stay common right through old age. So we're fixing aneurysms in people, you know, right up until the 8th decade of life, actually. Women are more affected than men. The studies differ depending on the population, but a good kind of thumbnail is they're about twice as common in women as men. So about 2/3 of the aneurysm patients are women. The thought process behind why that may be, have estrogen that protects their blood vessels. And as that estrogen goes away, those blood vessels become unprotected. Some evidence for that is from when we used to give hormone replacement to women. In big cross-sectional studies, people who were on the hormone replacement had less aneurysmal subarachnoid hemorrhage than those who were not on hormonal therapy. Now you say, well, why don't we give hormonal therapy to everybody? Well, the problem is it causes other stuff like ischemic stroke and cancer and stuff like that. So on whole, probably better for most people not to be on hormone therapy. But if you're interested and you have a strong family history, or you have a genetic predisposition because you have Marfan syndrome or some other connective tissue disease, maybe that is the best thing to do. So you have to talk to your obstetrician and your internist. The other thing is that the other reason that aneurysms are caused is high blood pressure, and it's very common in lots of patient populations, yes. And it gives you about a 1.5 times risk of the normal population by having blood pressure. The other big modifiable risk factor is cigarette smoking, so we can't. The good news
And I'm sorry, is everybody hearing Dr. Connolly?
No, he's breaking up a bit.
Oh, am I breaking up? Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. If you stop smoking, your risk for a brain aneurysm goes back to the population risk in about 5 years. So it's not like the damage is done. Help yourself. So stop smoking. The other thing that's been associated with aneurysms are sympathomimetic drugs. That's a fancy word for saying like cocaine and methamphetamine and speed, so don't do that, obviously. And then other things that can affect people somewhat sporadically are genetic diseases. So if you have Marfan syndrome, which is you would know, you have big loose joints and long fingers and dangly toes, then you're going to end up with all kinds of connective tissue problems. You're going to have shoulder displacements and knee problems, but you're also at risk for brain aneurysms and heart problems. And there are a whole host of connective tissue diseases that run with brain aneurysms. And finally, there is something called a familial intracranial aneurysm. And those are aneurysms that run in families. And so we consider a family affected if there are 2 affected members within one generation. So if it's you and your aunt, or you and your mother, or you and your sister, then you would be somebody that we would want to screen as potentially having a family history of aneurysms. Now, you say, I don't have a family history, should I be screened? If I were to screen you and you have a family history and you didn't have all these risk factors, then the chance of finding an aneurysm on a screening study would be very, very, very low. And it's just not cost effective to do that for everybody. Then your chance of being positive on a screening study done every 5 years, starting at about age 25, the chance of us finding an aneurysm in you is about 10% on a single study. So that actually makes it worthwhile to screen people. It can be a little nerve-wracking. You're most likely going to be negative, but if we found an aneurysm before it ruptures, that would be really good, and there are lots of great treatments. Now, we don't fix every aneurysm because fixing aneurysms is not risk-free. So that you need to go to a high-quality center like in San Francisco or Washington Heights to see people who really know what to do. But the take-home message is this, is that if you have a fair amount of life ahead of you, and we can come up with a low-risk treatment, your aneurysm should be fixed, okay? And the surgery, both through the blood vessel and through your skull, actually, has gotten so good that patients all go home within a day or 2, even having your head open. So it's really not a big deal. People get kind of freaked out and scared about it, but we're not operating on the brain. all we're doing is fixing this weakness on the side of the blood vessel. And those weaknesses for the lay population out there really are just like an egg on your tire of your car. And so you can imagine that if you had an egg on your tire of your car and you were probably only going to drive the car for another year, and you'd known that that egg was there for several years, you'd probably just leave it and drive the car, okay? But if you came out and you saw, wow, that's a brand new car and it's got an egg on it, and oh my goodness, that egg is growing, you'd get that tire fixed. And so that's really the way we approach the repair of these aneurysms. If something looks scary and you're going to be living for a long time, then we want to get this fixed. If an aneurysm does bleed, okay, it's great to be like B, but the fact of the matter is that many patients die from that. The percentages haven't changed dramatically because most patients die before they get to hospital, or their brain is already irreversibly damaged by the time they get to hospital. So the ballpark number is still about 60% of patients will not survive a ruptured brain aneurysm. So that's something you want to avoid. If you do survive the initial bleed, the care for patients with ruptured aneurysms has dramatically changed in the last 25 years. I mean, it's amazing how good the outcomes are, even for patients who arrive in coma. So it's amazing how much progress has been made. We've been involved in some large genetic studies. We've identified a bunch of potential genes involved in the familial syndromes. But we don't really have a good genetic test for people now so that you can say, well, you don't have to worry at all. So that's about where we are. It's a lot of information to digest. I do think it's really important for Washington Heights and the women in Washington Heights to realize how important making sure that you're in good shape like B, that you treat your high blood pressure if you have high blood pressure, and that you stay away from even passive cigarette smoke. It's really bad stuff. And I think those are the main things to do. If you think you have a familial syndrome, then definitely go to your doctor. If you think you have a connective tissue disease based on other problems, then definitely go to your doctor. And if you can, get involved in aneurysm research through the foundation and help us cure this horrible that's affecting so many people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Connolly. And I want to bounce back a little bit and also do a little translation, but I'm also very conscious of the Councilwoman's time. I know she has a hard stop at 7:30. And by the way, say happy birthday to your mom, Carmen. She's with us today on her mom's birthday. Not only she's a very busy elected official, but it's her mommy's birthday. So,
well, I'm not a neurosurgeon. I'm sure they're busy as well. So thank you for taking the time.
So, real quick, rapidito, voy a tratar de traducir un poco. Los aneurismas son una alteración en la arteria, como una verruguita, y 1 en cada 50 personas, un porcentaje alto de las personas tienen aneurismas. A muchas personas pasan desapercibido porque no tienen ningún síntoma, pero el problema realmente existe cuando el aneurisma se revienta, que fue lo que me pasó a mí. Cuando el aneurisma se revienta, 60% de las personas que tienen una ruptura de aneurisma mueren. Yo fui dichosa. Yo tuve una ruptura, yo tuve 2 cirugías craneanas, y él habló de los tipos de intervenciones que existen. Existen cirugías abiertas, como la que me hicieron a mí, y una cirugía que se hace por la arteria, que no tienen que abrirte la cabeza. Y hay otros aneurismas que solamente son observados clínicamente, que no tienen cirugía. Es muy importante evadir los cigarrillos. Si usted fuma ahora y tiene una historia familiar de aneurisma, pare ahora mismo. Puede bajar los riesgos de tener una ruptura. La presión alta, que era el problema mío, presión alta no controlada, multiplica que la oportunidad que le salgan aneurisma. Ese fue mi problema, presión alta. Y también el uso de drogas como la cocaína. Yo no hice eso, yo solamente tenía la presión alta. Pero sí, esas son diferentes cosas que pueden aumentar los riesgos y son, claro, más comunes en las mujeres y se encuentran también cuando las mujeres empiezan el proceso de la perimenopausia y menopausia, cuando los estrógenos bajan. So, queríamos compartir esa información, pero si uno lo trata temprano y si uno tiene una historia familiar, es muy importante pedir que le hagan las evaluaciones cerebrales para evadir tener una ruptura. So now I'm going to give it to our council member to share a few words with the group now. And you can do your own translation if you want, Carmen. I know you're a pro.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be in your company. I think this conversation is so important because some of the things that we heard the doctors speak about are some of the underlying conditions that lead to a brain aneurysm, right? And we know that in our community in Washington Heights, things like high blood pressure are so common. When we talk about cigarette smoking, we still have a large percentage of the community that engage in those activities. And even when we talk about addiction, right? As someone who sat in the mental health and mental health committee in Albany when I was in the assembly, we talked a lot about addictions. And we know that, you know, we're not here to cast judgments on folks that have addictions. We're here to help them out of those habits that form and actually have definitely impacts for their health. And so for me, I was, like I said, inspired by B's journey. We do an annual domestic violence walk here in the community, which is another public health crisis happening in our communities. And we were talking a lot about women's health. And B is such an inspiration because, you know, she really turned pain, right? Her pain and her struggle into something positive. And so I wanted to join B and just raise awareness in our community. One, we enjoy having a gem of an institution, and New York Presbyterian, right here in our backyard. There's no reason why, yes, right? There's no reason why our community should not be educated on the different outcomes that lead to this happening, to this circumstance. How do we prevent it? One of the things that I'll be focusing on in the city council is how to make our communities healthy. When we talk about healthy communities, what does that mean? Earlier today, I was on a panel with the West Side Campaign Against Hunger, and we were talking about the social determinants of health, right? And one of the things we were talking about was healthy eating and access to healthy eating. Well, as a council member, we have the ability to influence public policy, health policy, that leads to solutions in our communities for some of the things that we're seeing. And so for me, some of the things that I'll be focusing on, in addition to talking and thinking about food policy and access to food, is also how we get our community moving. We know that obesity is something that our community is battling with every single day. A few years ago, I did a basketball tournament with some young kids from the schools in order to get them moving outside, right? Even walking around our community. We have such amazing parkland in Northern Manhattan. We should take advantage of it. We don't need expensive gym memberships. Simply walking, right? And then, you know, this month is still Women's History Month. When we talk about some of the things impacting women and women of color, things like breast cancer rates in our community, when we talk about cancer in general, honestly, access to maternal health, right? These are some of the things that at a city council level, I'm looking forward to bringing more education around. And obviously, you know, I'm new to the brain aneurysm conversation, but I know that in my own family, my husband has been suffering from a tumor in his right above his pituitary gland, right? And so even in that process, learning about the brain and learning about the different factors that go into having surgery, it's important for us to understand that, you know, we are not exempt from being in this situation. And the more we know, the more prepared we can be. And so it's an honor to be here tonight, B, to support you. If there are workshops, community meetings, tenant meetings, where we can talk about preventative ways and preventative measures we can take in order to make sure we have a healthy community, count on me. I will be here.
And you count on me.
Information.
I'm at your service.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's more to say about women's health, hormonal changes, and different things. I know B and I have shared about our own journeys, right? And so my daughter's yelling here at the dog. But, okay. It's okay. Okay, I'm on the Zoom. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. My dog is eating my daughter's cupcake.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Luckily, it's not chocolate. But so as I was saying, I'm here to support any way that I can. We're looking forward to continuing to work with you, B, to motivate our community. Keep telling your story because people need to hear it. Your story is a beautiful one of survival and one of resiliency. So whatever we can do to help from the city council standpoint, I'm not on the health committee, but we have a wonderful health committee chair and a wonderful hospitals committee chair. And so I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation on that level.
Thank you so much, Carmen. Thank you. And I'm going to try to translate a little bit. Carmen mencionó que ella está trabajando en varias iniciativas para como concejal, incluyendo comer de una manera más saludable, que es algo que también contribuye a nuestro bienestar en general. Ella no es parte del comité de salud, pero hay un comité de salud bien fuerte. El nuevo mayor de Nueva York es todo de salud ahora. Our new mayor is Mr. Health. Mr. Healthy Eating. So, hey, if he needs somebody in Washington Heights to talk to, let's talk to the new mayor. So thank you so much for offering your support. Thank you, because it's also Brain Injury Awareness Month. So you are part of this conversation too. Es el mes de las lesiones cerebrales. Gracias, Carmen. So again, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I just wanted to share some numbers really quick just to paint a picture. These numbers are a little old, but for our district here in Washington Heights, District 10, our total population is 136,647 residents. So if we use the number 1 in 50, that means that 2,732 people in our community could be walking around with an unruptured brain aneurysm. Out of those people, 52% are female. So that would be 71,000, a little bit over 71,000 people. Of those, over 1,400 are women that are more likely to have a rupture. And we have a large population over 25, even though the Dr. Connolly said he's seen this in every age. And we are majority people of color, Hispanic, African American, and people from one or more racial groups. So yes, so this tells the story of Washington Heights. We are at risk. High blood pressure is one of the biggest issues, like Carmen was mentioning, in Washington Heights. Just to talk a little bit about my journey, but I feel like I want to touch base with the Columbia Neurosurgery team again. Hablando un poquito de mi jornada. I was minding my own business in my house, and all of a sudden I had the worst headache of my life. I immediately got a stiff neck, and I had, this is going to sound disgusting, but I had the most amazing dinner that night. Very healthy. I had some broccoli rabe and some salmon, but I started throwing up right away. And because I was not educated about what an aneurysm was or the symptoms were, I did not go to the hospital right away. That happened at 9 p.m. I didn't go to the hospital until the next day at 9 a.m. I waited 12 hours. So the fact that I'm here talking to you, it's really, really, really a miracle. Fue el peor dolor de cabeza de mi vida. Yo estaba tranquilita en mi casa. Inmediatamente se me puso duro el cuello y empecé a vomitar. Pero como yo no sabía cuáles eran los síntomas de un aneurisma, yo me quedé en mi casa por 12 horas. So el hecho de que estoy aquí hablando con ustedes es un milagro. Dr. Connolly performed surgery after I got to the hospital within 24 hours. They gave me something to clot the blood a little bit so that the bleeding will stop. And I have my aneurysm clipping. They went in and I literally put a clip it's so interesting that you're using the tire analogy, Dr. Connolly, because that's sort of what it feels like. And then 3 weeks later, because in their studying of my brain, they found that I had another brain aneurysm that I think was larger than the one that ruptured. And they fixed that. After that surgery, I went home pretty quickly. We were talking about healthy eating, Carmen. I was reluctant to lose weight because I was gonna love my body no matter what. But then I realized that my blood sugar was high and other things were not gonna be regulated if I didn't lose weight. So I embraced healthy eating and I lost over 50 pounds. And then with that, a whole new world was opened up to me. Things that I couldn't do, I can do now. Like,
So exciting.
Can I show that? Can I show that? Can I show that? So now I'm a half marathoner. I never ran in my life. And now I'm going to be 46 in 2 days. I am running, and I took it slow because I hurt myself, but I ran for 3 hours straight this Sunday. And those are the beautiful things, that losing weight, taking care of myself, and taking my health seriously. Not taking for granted the second chance in life that Dr. Connolly and God and all the people that pray for me gave me. It's what has me here. And when I was accepted in the New York City TAAF, I emailed Dina and I'm like, Dina, I got to do the New York City TAAF. We need to do something because March is brain injury awareness, is my anniversary, is my birthday. And I was doing the news, and we needed to do something for March. And this is how the campaign was conceptualized. I was a little scared because since I got injured, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do the half, but I did it, and I feel amazing. I went to the doctor. My hips are fine. Everything is good. I just need some physical therapy. So yo estoy muy agradecida. Lo que pasó conmigo no es la norma. Como dijo el doctor, 60% de las personas que le pasa lo que a mí me pasó mueren. Las personas que sobreviven tienen una deficiencia física. Yo no tengo deficiencia. Yo estoy en la mejor salud de mi vida, gracias a Dios. Me tomé mi salud en serio, perdí peso y me estoy condicionando y cuidando, y he completado medio maratón, que fue lo que inspiró la campaña de Move with B. So I'm just so grateful. I could just, move on and forget about it and say, those 20 days in the hospital, big deal. But because I came out okay, because I had access to amazing health care, because I am the healthiest I have ever been now, I feel a sense of responsibility. And now the crying is going to come. I feel a sense of responsibility. So please, people, just because you see me healthy and strong, I'm not the norm. I'm not the norm. Unfortunately, I'm not the norm. And I want to be the norm. I want anybody that has an aneurysm to be like me or better. So please, if you have a history, take care of yourself. Please move. I have high blood pressure. I thought that by losing the weight and exercising, I could stop taking medication, but I'm still taking a very small dosage, but I still take high blood pressure medication to regulate my blood pressure. But I know that now that I do very good cardiovascular exercise, the likelihood of, my arteries having an issue is lower. So even if you have to still take medication, you can still decrease the chances of something bad happening by taking care of yourself. So yo todavía tomo medicamento para la presión, pero me cuido, y el cuidarme, aunque tenga que tomar medicamento, me ayuda a bajar la oportunidad de que algo pase. So before I give it to Dina, I just wanted to check in with the Columbia Neurosurgery team. Is there anything else you guys want to share?
No, I mean, this is amazing. We need to see you in the office, and great.
I'll go in there. You have, listen, you are my family. I went after the first year. I dropped a thank you card for you, and I went and saw the nurses on the 8th floor of the hospital. But then COVID happened, and I couldn't make it a yearly tradition.
Yeah. Anyway, work with the foundation to try to raise awareness and raise money for their research efforts, and we should work with the Congresswoman to figure out what we can do for our community to keep it keep it healthy. We have a lot of plans for neurological, cures that we really want to make available to the community. So maybe we should continue that discussion.
And count me in.
Yeah, and we don't have to give up our amazing culture. I'm the healthiest I have ever been, and still eating rice, beans, and chicken. You can still keep you can find healthy ways to eat your cultural food and enjoy the things that are important to you and because food, I've never understood the comment like emotional eating. I have never not been emotional about eating. I love
right?
So se puede ser saludable y comer arroz, habichuela y carne. No hay que dejar eso. The campaign Move with B is a campaign that is taking place right now until the end of March. There's plenty of information on the TAAF page for you to access the campaign. You can also go to my account here on IG, and the link is on the bio. And you can go directly there, and you can participate in a couple of ways. One is you can create an account, and you can track your movement. So we have several people. My friend Katie, who is a nutritional fellow at Columbia, actually, keeps one-upping me on her minutes. Dr. White, stop moving so much. So you can track your movement, and we're tracking minutes, so it can be anything, dancing, walking, running, whatever you want to do. So usted puede participar creando una cuenta y monitoreando su movimiento. When you create an account, you can also send emails to your friends asking them to participate, whether by creating an account or donating, and any size donation is okay. So pueden mandarle emails a sus amistades para que donen $5, $10. It doesn't matter. Any contribution, no matter how small, is a great contribution. And then you participating in activities like this, reading the posts that we've been putting with information about brain aneurysms. Usted puede participar también aprendiendo. Hemos tenido varios paneles como este, y también puede leer la información. Oh, my phone is falling. Puede leer la información que hemos puesto con relación a las aneurismas. So now I'm going to pass it to my partner in crime, Dina, to talk to us about TAAF and the amazing work they're doing. Tomorrow's a big day for you.
Tomorrow is a big day, yeah. But before I lose everybody, I do want to follow up on a couple things that all of you have said. And I wanted to start with saying that when Beatrice approached me and she said that she was running, I reminded her that the only way that I was going to participate is if there was an axe murderer behind me. I don't run. She said, me either. So FYI, being able to move with B, I have even been out there on my treadmill, not running, but I have been on it. I wanted to invite the councilwoman as well as our whole neuro team there at Columbia. You are welcome to come to our walk or have a walk near you or continue to do all of these amazing things. Beatrice actually said something as simple as when you see something to share it, you are exponentially growing the opportunity for other people to learn about brain aneurysms. She said herself, I admitted myself, even the councilwoman, we've all said we didn't know before it was part of our lives what some of these symptoms were. So it's really important that you share them when you see them, right? Tell your friends. I wanted to add that very recently, one of our founders actually and his team, Michael Lawton, did a thing on marijuana usage. And so I wanted to actually bring this up, that it's not just tobacco smoking, that smoking in general is really, really bad for you. And I usually talk more on the marijuana side when I'm chatting with our youth ambassadors or I'm talking to younger folks. But then I have to remind myself, we started when we were younger, then we became older, right? Like that's how that happens. So FYI to everyone, right? Please know that vaping and marijuana usage also count. And then I wanted to make a really important note. A lot of the time we hear anecdotally that, oh, it's tiny. They told me it was super tiny. My brain aneurysm is tiny. You know, I think that tiny is great if tiny is not going to rupture, right? So The challenge here is that Beatriz said she had 2 dose, right? And it was the tiny one that bled. So I think it's really important that we don't make any assumptions that it's only size. Size does matter. Size is important.
Doesn't matter when it comes to a brain bleed.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to lastly thank Dr. Connolly for stating in very simple terms this idea that, yes, there's colloquialism that it's not brain surgery, right? However, in this particular case, if you can have endovascular treatment, if you have open brain surgery, all of these treatments are so much better now than maybe when your mom or your aunt or someone else has had them. They do. I'm human. They sound scary. They are far less invasive and scary, with big air quotes around it, than you think. So it's really important to come to an organization like ours after you have the information from your physician. I really want to stress your physicians know the actual answers. We know them because I, for example, have a great group of boards, heads of neurosurgery and neurology, et cetera, right? Like, they're amazing people. We speak anecdotally to you. We are talking about how to provide services and support and making sure that you come to a support group and you never, ever, ever feel like you're alone in this. For me personally, the reason to lead this organization was that, as I said to you earlier, having lost someone, I didn't want that feeling to happen to anyone else ever, ever again. And the only way to do that is to get in the trenches and to be with you and to pick up a phone and actually speak to someone like a Beatriz. And when you hear these journeys, these stories, it's very, very easy to say, oh, wow. You know, it's so common, this whole 1 in 50, right? Like, okay, Beatriz is going to be fine. She's said umpteen times she wants everyone to be better than she is, right? And she's not the norm. So I just wanted to reiterate again that I wanted to really bring up this idea that you speak to your physicians, that your neuro team knows best. We at TAAF, we are here to make sure that you live a very wonderful life afterwards, here to be of service. And I want to thank Beatriz tonight. And I really want to raise just an amazing glow of love around her in this moment. Yes, come, be with B, move with B, but also be inspired today to know that every one of you is a B. All of you that are either out here on Instagram or are in, a community are having to hang out. And yes, I'm sorry, as much as I love all of the neuro team there, no one wants to have to hang out with their neuro team. You want to say high five and then never see them again because you've done so well, right? But I just want to say that TAAF and organizations like the folks here that you're seeing tonight care very deeply about how you live your lives. And so in that way, I want to just end our conversation with Beatriz. Beatriz, what is the most important thing that your movement is meant to do?
The most important thing is, first and foremost, to increase awareness. Another thing that saved me, and I don't even know if she's joining tonight, was that I called my boss to report that I wasn't going to the office, and she knew the symptoms, and she said, go to the hospital, you're having an aneurysm. But unfortunately, like you, Dina, she knew because she lost her mom. And she said, you said to me the last words that my mom said to me. So I want people to be aware. I don't want them to find out the way I found out. So por favor, edúquense. Dina mencionó que los cigarrillos en general de marihuana, de nicotina, son muy peligrosos. Edúquense porque ya cuando la ruptura pasa es muy tarde. It wasn't too late for me, but it can be late for somebody else. 60% is the number, 60%. Tengamos cuidado, por favor. So first, education, and then I want people to move out of gratitude for their bodies. I was having a really hard time at the half marathon because I hurt my hip a couple of weeks ago. There was a man with a cane and a woman with a prosthetic in front of me. I couldn't keep up with them. The man with the cane was walking, and I couldn't keep up with him. So there's some of us that unfortunately can't move at all. So those of us that can move in any possible way, we should move as a form to say thanks to our body. So, importantísimo que nos movamos si podemos, porque no todo el mundo puede moverse, como una manera de darle gracias a nuestro cuerpo. I used to work out before the aneurysm happened, and I was always working out, trying to look pretty and get the right butt. And then I learned to work out because I can. Like now, and everybody's like, why are you running? Because I figured out I can't. And I couldn't before. So, movámonos como una manera de agradecer. Y el cuerpo nos va a pagar en recompensa. Our body is going to pay us back exponentially for any time that we invest in movement. I got a compliment today when I went to the orthopedic doctor. He said my bones look really good for a middle-aged woman. So, mi hueso tan fuerte porque me ejercito y me cuido. So, yo no voy a tener ciertos retos luego. O si los tengo va a ser mucho más tarde. So, that is all I have to say. And then, of course, donate to TAAF. Those are the three things. Donate to TAAF. Go in the website right now. Move with B. The link is on my IG account. And go in and donate $5, $10. And if you have more, donate more. I'm not going to push you back if you can. Vaya, done, edúquese, muévase y ayúdenos. There's still a lot of things that we don't know. That's why research is important. Hay muchas cosas que no sabemos. That's why research is important. Look at the amazing things that have happened with breast cancer. Screenings are now required for women after 40. So maybe we can do something similar with brain aneurysms. Miren las cosas estupendas que están pasando con el cáncer de las mamas y cómo tenemos que hacernos nuestro mamograma. But for that, we need money. None of those things happen without money, so we need money. So thank you, everybody. I wanted to end with the dance break. I don't know if I can get you guys dancing. If I can play the music now. Now required for women. Sorry, I'm trying to see. I had some music cued, but I don't know if it. I was trying to find some music that is not copywritten.
I will dance with you without the music.
So I think I found it. I'm like, oh, because if we record it, then it's Beyonce's song, then I think I found it. There you go.
There we go.
So it was just... Move with me, come on. Muévanse, bailen. Shoulder bopping, Dr. Connolly and Gabby, it's okay.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, everybody. And when you put this on the TAAF page, I'm going to share with everyone because I want everybody to be educated directly from the experts. Dr. Connolly, thank you so much.
De nada.
See you.
Gracias.
Ciao.
Nice to see you, Gabby. Bye, Dr. Connolly. Thank you. And Beatriz, you are amazing.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.